What's up, guys? Weekend version here with another Dawncaster video. Apologies for the lack of uploads in the past few months. Been really busy with work, but I wanted to really get this video out on release of the new Infernal Invasion expansion. The newest set, Infernal Invasion, introduces a new mechanic, which is so when you enable the expansion and you purchase the expansion, instead of having new areas to explore, you'll get a random drop of specific mini bosses in existing areas, which will then change the final boss instead of Dante. So that's a really interesting take for an expansion, because normally expansions were just like new areas or like new bosses, but this is it like impacts all existing areas. So that's a really interesting take. I mean, the devs are really amazing when it comes to these strong thematics. So yeah, let's check out the new cards. Well, let's check out some of the new cards announced by the devs. The expansion is out, by the way. So, my recommendation is to just like pause the video, download the game, get the expansion, and enjoy it yourselves. It's definitely a great game to be playing right now. So we'll review some of the cards showcased by the devs. So let's start with the first set of spoiler cards revealed. So the first card we got is Holy Defiance, which is an enchantment, a legendary card, 2 Holy Energy, and it says, on death, upgrade all cards in your deck equal to the overkill. Starts in play if you start combat below 10% health. Okay, so that's a really interesting card. So it's mainly for the Scar build. And once you die, you can upgrade all your cards. So I wonder if this is a permanent upgrade. Because if it is, then it makes this a much, much more interesting card. So almost kind of like an int build. Trying to kill yourself as many times as possible to get the most out of it. Okay, I'll definitely give it a try. The next card is Soul Nova. So the Nova cards are actually one of my favorite archetype, although it's not really that great. But it's just the concept of it is really appealing to me. So Soul Nova is a hunter card, green-red energy. It's an action, and it says gain 1 soul. Repeat for each other type of Nova card you've played this combat, and it's heavy. So the heavy text makes it worse, because usually for a Nova-based deck, you don't really build any cards that reshuffle from your graveyard. But gaining souls is an interesting thought. So souls are permanent. And when you get to 100 souls, you basically get like a free revive. So yeah, I mean, it boosts also your other Nova cards, so it's definitely a nice addition to the Nova deck. We'll see how it plays out. And let's check out the next card. It's a legendary rogue card, 1 green energy, forgery, an action, and it says create an untempered copy of each card in your hand. Now that's an interesting use of the keyword. So if we create untempered copies, that makes them, so for you guys that play Legends of Frontera, untempered is basically like fleeting. So it's almost like create a temporary copy of each card in your hand. So it allows you to basically double up. It's a nice combo enabling card. But because it's legendary, I guess you can only play it once. But yeah, it's a good road card. The next card is an Arcanist card, 3 energy, another legendary action, Brain Warp, draw cards equal to your focus, then lose all focus. If you've lost 20 or more focus this way, take another turn, unique. So it's another twist on the take an extra turn, but this time it relies on focus. But usually for focus builds, so the 2 classes that really use focus this way are Seeker and Arcanist, but usually Arcanist would like to keep that focus. I wonder if there's more ways to gain focus as a pure arcanist. For seekers, it's much easier to gain focus. So I can see it in a seeker build. But it'll be interesting to test out. Because once it's down to like 2 energy, then it's much more viable, obviously. But yeah, interesting card. We'll test it out and see. So for the next set of cards, we get Parrot Familiar, a rogue equipment card, costs 1 green energy and says activate to play a free copy of your next surge. Deplete, gain gold equal to your energy, 4 durability. Okay, so this card basically doubles your surge value. Okay, and the deplete is not that relevant, I don't think. Gain gold equal to your current energy. But I guess for like an energy-based deck, it's a way to just like gain gold. But I mean, if it's an equipment and you get 4 uses out of it, so it basically just pays off. It just basically pays itself after its first use. Yeah, so it's an okay card. It's another familiar, so I wonder if in the future we get more familiar support. Yeah, it's like an okay card. The next card is a hunter card, so it costs a green or red. It's an action, Ancient Curse, and it says draw a card. After you cast this 4 times, shuffle a deadly effigy into your foe's discard pile, and it's heavy. And deadly effigy says you are slain. Your foe starts next combat with all your blessings and applicable enchantments. Okay, now this is a really crazy card. It will be very difficult to pull off consistently, or because it's heavy. But in Hunter, there's a lot of ways to just reshuffle the discard pile, so that's not an issue. The real issue is getting Deadly Effigy to trigger in time before you just lose all your HP. And in the later stages, that becomes more tricky to do. But I wonder if you can somehow get this to echo, it might be doable. It's definitely an interesting card. It was one of those cards where you need to basically build around to get it to work. And Hunter also gives you access to like the rogue cards for traps, and it could fit into that type of deck. I mean that's the best card I've seen so far. Well, the most interesting one, at least. So I'm definitely gonna give it a try. The next card is a legendary Mind Nova action card. It costs a green blue or a blue red. That's a crazy color combination. And it's another Nova. And it says draw a card, repeat for each other type of Nova card you played this combat, and it's unique. Yeah, this is easily amazing. This is probably the best Nova card we got. The one thing that Nova really missed is that consistent type of draw. But this basically just like solves all those issues. It increases your Nova count by 1. It just makes the deck that much smoother to play. Yeah. Well, let's see what the new Nova deck looks like. I'm really interested to try it out. The next card is a rogue melee action, costs 1 green energy, 10-sided strike, and it says deal 5 damage. On hit, conjure a copy that costs 1 green energy, then add a random keyword. Alright, so, well, if this random keyword stacks, so let's say you get echo and then you get persistent, do those keywords stack? If it does, then this is probably the most crazy card that you can like start off with. It almost feels like, if you're playing League, it's like stacking Nasus Qs, so that's a really cool card. But if it's just the next copy, then that makes it a bit worse to do. So we'll see, we'll test it out. I mean, the expansion is out today, so I'm definitely gonna try this one out. And for the last set of reveals, we get Code of Steel, which is a divine code, and it costs 3 holy energy, and it says start of turn, create a battle spear. And the code is that you need to have 2 or more scars. Okay. I mean, that's a great card for if you're playing a scar deck, because you basically just start your game plan turn 1. And it doesn't cost like a deck slot because it plays itself, and if it doesn't trigger, it doesn't really count in your deck. Yeah, that's a good card for the archetype. The next card is a legendary card, 1 energy. It's an action, Molten Fury. Upgrade all untempered cards in hand. Frenzy, double the upgrades of all untempered cards in hand. I wonder if you can combine this with Holy Defiance. Okay, but the restriction is cards in hand. And it's the same question. If the upgrades are permanent, then this is an amazing card. If not, then it's a bit tricky to justify. But yeah, we'll test this out and see. The next card is a Seeker card, Deadly Dance. Costs a green or a blue. It's an enchantment. And it says, this combat, whenever you evade, gain 1 focus and deal damage equal to your focus. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. There's already an archetype where every time you evade, you gain haste. So I can see a deck where basically the entire game plan is just to evade. And that's how you deal damage. And I think there's also that swiftness card that makes it so that your evade can dodge magic attacks as well. Okay, so that would be an interesting deck to build. So really cool cards, this set. Definitely interesting. And then last card is Kitchen Brawl. Costs 2 red energy. It's a melee action, and it says deal 1 damage twice. Whenever you play an ingredient, increase this damage by 1. So I'm going to make some claims here. So I've played quite a bit of Ingredient Warrior in my spare time. And it's a fun deck. There are, those turns where you just create a bunch of ingredients in one turn. So you could definitely do some serious damage at that point. And, whenever you upgrade this card, you also add the multiplier. So if you upgrade it 5 times, and let's say you play 5 ingredients, and you just do 20 damage and 2 energy. Well, that's decent in like the early and mid game. But in the late game, I think it might struggle a little bit. So you need ways to like really upgrade this card. Hope you guys enjoyed the brief discussion on the new cards this set. Check out Infernal Invasion. It's out now. So just download the game, buy the expansion, and have fun, guys. Yeah. Let me know what decks you're interested in playing or what decks you've tried out. If you have any cool cards you want to explore. Take care and see you next time.